When people think of oral literature, they might think it is limited in its scope and faulty in its purpose. How far can oral literature go across barriers of language, time period, and/or culture? How can it sustain when its survival hinges on people who cannot guarantee those left behind will deem it important enough to carry on? Some indisputable famous examples of oral literature are the stories featuring trickster god of stories Anansi, originating from the Ashanti people of Ghana, but making appearances as far away as the Caribbean, or the tales of Roman and Greek gods from Mount Olympus, and the many heroes of man that struck against their will. Children's rhymes like Hot Cross Buns, and hand-clapping games like Miss Mary Mac. They are examples of how oral literature can triumph despite language and cultural barriers. They are engaging, harrowing, and most importantly, told time and time again. But oral literature isn't just about gods and heroes and shape-shifting tricksters. It is also about the people on Earth that were larger than life. It's the stories passed down in your family, a happening that you've heard more than once from your great aunt, your father, your older sister. It's about your mom knowing your family migration story by heart and reciting it to you in harrowing details of trial and tribulation. It's the whispers of the elders who can tell you all about what the neighborhood used to be, what used to be on the corner, who used to live up the street, or what stood where before the clearing of the bush. Oral literature is the living history of memory, of life itself. Oral literature can also be completely fictional. Parables and folk stories that we are used to hearing as children, as stories at bedtime, or just when enough children were gathered around the right storytelling adult. There was always one who had a bag full of tales to spin. Oral literature might end up being transcribed over the years as a way of preserving a story, especially when being brought into another culture or language. Oral literature is meant to be adapted, to be flexible and live on through the listeners and the sharers. It's why it has so many forms, from campfire ghost stories to the theater. Beyond moral examples and family history, it can reveal history of society. It can unveil a culture in its complexities. Documentaries and research about periods in this and the immediately previous century's history often utilize and defer to first-hand accounts of the people who lived it. They are cataloged in video, writing, and/or audio recording. The amalgamation of these personal narratives gives the beautifully complex tapestry that shapes the coloring of our many collective pasts. Cultural festivities are often ripe for oral literature. Stories told in song, dance, and narrative spill history with every breath. They keep tradition and cultural identity alive. The same goes for live music. The song lyrics live on in people's hearts and minds, transplanted through oral transmission. The emotional attachment that people develop to words upon hearing them is also evident in the spoken word circuit. Poetry has been said to be a literary category that is at its best when recited aloud. Maybe because something resonates with the audience more intensely when actually seeing and/or hearing words be delivered with the energy of someone who has something they're desperate to share. Maybe it's because there's something enrapturing about being part of a moment in time, coexisting in someone's memories and in their presence all at the same time. Verbatim theater is a genre of theater at the heart of oral history and literature when it comes to the arts. Based on real-life oral documentation such as interviews and even court transcripts, verbatim theater aims to bring real stories to its audiences. An article written by Holly Warner Thomas on oralhistoryreview.org says this: I argue that at least for oral historians focused on current events or the recent past who desire to spark a dialogue, hold a mirror up to society in an effort to reveal truths or promote social change, performance represents an opportunity to reach new audiences. The immediacy of the spoken word and the opportunity for deep listening are abundant in theater. Because conservation of history isn't just about physical documentation, as helpful as that is. It is also about a willingness to listen, to hear the stories of the people around us, to make the concerted effort to learn and preserve language and all that comes with it. We are a species of words, and whichever way we learn to share them is as relevant as the next. Oral literature is still necessary because of its inextricable connection to the human spirit and our collective truth. We carry literature with us in more forms than paper and ink. Literature is a natural shapeshifter. It's the God and the creation. It needs no believers to exist because it lives in everything we already do. everything we already are.